We didn't play Dead Guy Ale during our last Legacy stream because Liliana the Veil is currently bugged on Magic Online. Because Magic Online is nothing but quality software. It's a pretty isolated chapel. I think I'm going to bottom that. Gideon's intervention is pretty narrow. I think I'm just escalating this. And honestly, I think I'm going to just discard the other brutality at this point. Which I'm sure I'm just about to draw a bunch of lands and then be sad, but I think this is reasonable here. Oh, they don't have white mana. That's so good for us. Watch them draw basic planes or a fetch land here. Well, this curve is great. This is my curve. My curve is amazing. Do. Yep, need to update Stream Decker. Thank you. Stream Decker updated. Oh, Treetop. I forgot about Treetop. Yep. Mistakes were made, chat. Mistakes were made. Hold on one moment. Alright, I'm back. Field of Rune's a good pickup here. I guess I just, like, attack them, right? Although I guess I don't want to field them because then they get a plains. I'm gonna take my phone and set it over here because that probably vibrated on the microphone. I think I just want to start beating them down here. Our green creature matchup is probably pretty good, yeah. We'd be in a pretty amazing spot if I'd have played a little bit better. Does this count as buying you dinner on our anniversary? Thank you, Feudal Diversion, for the 6-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That's really unfortunate. I can't attack here because they fire this up. It gets to eat one of them. And if I Field of Ruin, it gives them a plains, which makes this a 3/3. Yeah, the fact that I threw away the Gideon of the Trials means we're probably just going to get buried here since they drew a way to kill our other Gideon. That's true. That's true. At least they're not attacking. Well, they don't really have good attacks, right? Yeah, I think the plan is just, like, gum the board up and, like, get them to play more stuff out and then eventually sweep. So this is them triggering Revolt for themselves here. You did miss it, Justin. It was great, by the way. We 4-1. I conceded the last match to Valakut because we were never beating Valakut, but the deck was sweet. I ended up building a Bant deck. I guess they can just get their treetop back here. I think I'm just gonna field this now. I think I just pass here for now. Ideally, I want to get them to like attack this Voice of Resurgence in, so that way I can Cleansing Nova to clear it out. We're on the double block here, I think. Because remember, I can path to Exile if they go to Kessig Wolfrin here, because I don't really care if I'm giving them a Voice of Resurgence token, because I can just like Cleansing Nova and clear everything out. Feels a little bit bad. Okay, just let this die. We know they have another Rallier in their hand right now. It's another land. I wonder if this deck's supposed to play some Horizon Canopies. Help it mitigate when it floods at all. No, I think it's just pretty reasonable to play around a sweeper out of our deck. I think like we're very obviously playing like the black-white mid-range control deck. If they're like familiar with like fringe decks in Modern at all, they're gonna know what to expect out of us. That's the shock. Are they just firing up Kessig Wolfrin here? Yeah, smells like it. So we're into 12 here. Yeah, the reason we run Night's Whispers over Sign in Blood is because we have all these basic planes in our deck. That's really bad for us. Do they have a land here? They do. Chat, we're going to get outvalued by crappy green and white creatures. So they can Kessig Wolf run to make their elemental trade with my Shambling Vent, but I think I'm okay with that. If they Kessig Wolf run to trade with my Shambling Vent, that means I can't Renegade Rallier this turn, which is like a pseudo win for us. This will probably be Renegade Rallier, get back Voice of Resurgence, I'd imagine. Yep. Feels really bad. In a pretty bad spot here if we don't draw another sweeper ASAP. The Bant approach deck ended up dying to red-green Valakut, but we finished 4-1 otherwise. I'm going to go ahead and fire up Shambling Vent here and block the Voice of Resurgence. And the reason why I'm doing this is this way if we drew a sweeper, we wouldn't have a token to deal with. What are replacements for Karn and Worm Coil? There really aren't budget replacements for those, which I assume why you're trying to replace them. You want them to be colorless threats, and those cards aren't really other colorless threats that exist. I feel like I want these. I feel like Collective Brutality is a little bit medium here. These Thoughtseizes could be bad too, potentially. Actually, Rest in Peace seems okay, right? Like, turns off their things. Sorry about that. I gotta talk to my wife about something real quick. Yeah, I think I like boarding like this. I was muted intentionally there. That was on purpose. That was on purpose. The 6th month is coming. Vix T, thank you for the 5-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Rip plus Lingering Souls isn't strictly a combo, but I think turning off Voice and Renegade Rallier is worth turning off the back half for Lingering Souls. You can read my article here from 2 weeks ago talking about cards in M19 that I think could have an impact on Modern. We finished 4-1 with the Bant approach deck. Why no Bitter Blossom? Why should we play Bitter Blossom? What issue do you envision this deck having that playing Bitter Blossom solves? What issue, what problem are you trying to fix? I conceded the last match to Red-Green Valakut, because Red-Green Valakut is, like, unwinnable for mid-range and control decks. Did I sideboard? Yeah, I sideboard. Wait. Am I not sideboarded? I clicked submit, right? Did I not click submit? I could have sworn I clicked submit, but apparently we're not sideboarded, so... You know, Resurrect, thank you for the Twitch Prime. I appreciate it. Welcome. I guess we're going to run this one without a sideboard. Grab second white and cast Night's Whispers here on 2. It seems pretty good if we had some lands here. Play the Lingering Souls token to kind of hold the fort here. Hopefully they go a little bit wider and we rip this land and get to cast this Wrath of God into our Gideons. I think the actual art on this Wrath of God is stellar. I think the frame is hideous, and whoever approved that frame was hopefully fired or moved out of the art department at Wizards of the Coast. Interesting. Yeah, Jojo, so like, and what you're doing there is a very common thing that people do when they're building decks. Like, I feel like it's a very common thing to do where you just like add a bunch of cards that you think seem good to a deck, and that's generally not how you want to approach deck building when you're working on archetypes. You want to be trying to fix problems that an archetype has when you're making changes in it. So like, you don't want to just like add cards to this deck like Bitter Blossom without having a goal in mind. So in my mind, an argument against Bitter Blossom and something like this is Bitter Blossom is another card that generates grindy card advantage, and this deck is already filled to the brim with planeswalkers and stuff that generate grindy card advantage. So I don't think including more cards that generate grindy card advantage is really where we want to be in life. I feel like we already have enough things that like tick that box basically. Double block here. If we hit an untapped land, we get to like slam this Gideon and destroy this Knight of the Rockaway, which would be great. That's really unfortunate. Guess I just cast this Wrath of God now. So again, like, Modern is a format, and this deck we already have ways to protect our planeswalkers. So Bitter Blossom is a slow, clunky, grindy card. This deck is already full of slow, clunky, grindy cards. So again, you're not saying it defends our planeswalkers, while true is defending our planeswalkers something we have an issue with in our deck that has, 6 sweepers in it. So when you're building and making changes, you want to be making changes with a purpose. You want to be saying, okay, I want to make this change because it fixes this specific issue this deck has. Let's start with this. All right, got him on the old auto pass there. Yeah, that too. I agree with K-Smith's assessment that the planeswalkers we're playing also by and large protect themselves. All right, let's actually sideboard now. Rest in Peace also makes their, what's it called, worse. It makes their Knight of the Reliquary worse as well. Also, a deck like this doesn't have a way to consistently gain points of health, which means that Bitter Blossom is just going to slowly burn you out in a lot of games. Let's see, it needs some land, but it's got some good potential. I feel like the opponent's deck isn't quite fast enough to punish a no place till 3, but we'll see. Turn 1 Wild Nicuddle's a little scary. There's a deck list on your screen. If you're on mobile, you can type !deck in chat to get a link to the deck list. What if they're a Collected Company deck? They have to be, right? Johnny Vengeance. Well, that's real. What's going on, Chad? Howdy, howdy. That's brutal. That's really brutal. So we get to go land Lingering Souls next turn. Yeah, I think we're gonna be too far behind here. They're going to get to a Johnny, keep one of our lands locked down here. Like, we have to, like, not die to this Ajani ultimate, and we have to not die to the things on board, so I feel like they're just coming at us from too many angles here. It depends on what you're looking to do. It depends on what those cards do and what you're looking to accomplish by adding them to your deck. If it's a card you want to draw every game, that's just gonna lock us out of this game, right? Gideon basically says, Godless basically says we can't cast spells. Yep, very dead. Alright, not so hot start for Chad. While we're waiting for the second match to start, I'd just like to say good morning, afternoon, good night to everybody, wherever you're at in the world. Thanks for joining us here. My name's Jeff Hogan. I'm a full-time streamer, memer, content producer here on Twitch. I play Magic 30 plus hours a week on this channel. This deck, like most of the decks we play here on stream, is a viewer-submitted deck list. So if you're interested in finding out how you can get your deck on stream, be sure to check out bit.ly/HugelSellout. You can also support my content by checking out some of my very wonderful sponsors. MTGOtraders.com. I love to buy and sell some Magic Online cards with you. And if you use code Hoagland PayPal, check with them. You'll save 8% on your singles orders there. Honey would love to help save you some money. Honey is a free browser extension that when you add it to your browser, if you're shopping online, it takes a look at the things that you're buying anyways, and it searches online for coupon codes. And if it can save you on money on stuff you're going to buy, it offers you the coupon codes. And if it can't save you any money, it leaves you completely alone. Lisa would like to get you on your way to a better night's sleep. Christy and I have been sleeping with Lisa for the last 6 weeks now, and it's quite wonderful. We've never had a foam mattress before, and I don't think I'd ever go back to a normal pillow top mattress. You can check out bit.ly/HugelbedUS or bit.ly/HugelbedCA to save $160 or more on your new foam mattress. And of course, I'd like to welcome everyone out there to Hoaglandia. Please talk to your friendly neighborhood moderator about your complimentary timeout. This hand looks like a pretty easy mulligan, right? Not a whole lot going on. Well, I guess I'm keeping this on the draw with a scry. I think I'm obligated to keep a 3-drop here. It depends on the extensions, Dono Gaming. So if the extension supports mobile, then it'll pop up on mobile, but not all Twitch extensions support mobile at this point. Man, my body is ready to get Blood Mooned out of this game with our greedy 2-color mana base. Speaking of extensions, if you look underneath the stream in the stream information panel, we have a slick new donation deck queue extension now, so you can see the decks not only that we're playing today, but also the deck names and links and how many points they're at for other decks that are coming up. Quite awesome. One of the wonderful members of Hoaglandia here created that for us. Condescend. Are they playing U-Tron with just a weird land start? I'm gonna stand up for a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I didn't want to stand to start, but my legs are getting a little cramped. Oh. Confirmed mono U-Tron. Alright, well, hopefully one of these Gideons is going to resolve. Hopefully one of these Gideons is going to resolve. Eight Rack is a miserable deck to play with and against. It just doesn't create interesting or relevant decisions. That's true. On the bright side, we are not about to get Blood Mooned. I guess I just play Lingering Souls, huh? Because I can flash it back. Yep. Alright, still no extra lands from them, so that's good for us. If we draw a 6th land here, that's actually pretty good, because it means we can Inquisition plus Rad Chad here. Our board is pretty immune to Sundering Titan, ain't that the truth? Hopefully they only have 2 counterspells here, or 1 counterspell. Gosh, this is really good for us. If we get to stick a Gideon here, we're going to kill them very quickly. What you got? I don't think we really care about the Condescend. Like, we're just not going to cast any more spells this game. Just, like, going to kill them by activating Gideon and creature lands. Maybe this Field of Ruin at some point. They're 2 turns away from a Wormcoil Engine. But next turn I get to hit them for 11 and put them down to 7. I have no idea what Grixis Pyromancer looks like. It's not really a deck. Let's just smash in here. Prevent all damage a target permanent would deal. So that means next turn when they slam this Wormcoil Engine, I can get into the Trials on it and then smash in so they don't gain health. It's like a Treasure Mage or something silly. This has to just be like land Wormcoil, right? I think Mono Blue Tron is a clunky and awkward deck. Hurt Travis with the brand new tier 1 sub. Thank you very much for the support and welcome. I appreciate it. Whenever I see people playing Tron lands with a bunch of cards that aren't just like the green Tron cards, they always seem really clunky and awkward. Let's get all these sweepers out of our deck that are pretty bad, huh? Probably Elspeth Tirel too. Maybe this Gideon Jura. That seems fine. Do I want Stony Silence in this matchup? They don't actually have that many artifacts that activate, right? They have, like, Oblivion Stones, but, like, that's probably worth bringing in Stony about. Yeah, sometimes they have Mana Rocks, too. This probably isn't worth bringing in Surgical here. I'm gonna click submit. I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick, and then we'll be finishing this league up in a couple more. Don't go anywhere, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Alright, here's hoping the Stony Silence is good. ABS always boarded surgical. They might just have a good Tron draw here. These are... When I lose to blue Tron, it's usually because they just went natural Tron big thing. Which, if that's the draw that's beating me, why didn't you just play green Tron? Oh, baby. Oh, baby. What did they keep? Their hand seems truly rancid. Land? Land. God bless. God bless us, everyone. I want to say I met you at Knoxville a few years back, and I recently got back into your content. I've been loving it. You provide so much quality content that I can stay interested in Magic even when I can't play. Well, thank you, Dono Gaming. I appreciate the support. I'm glad you enjoy it. Spreading Seas myself. What a great Magic deck. What a truly phenomenal Magic the Gathering deck. Spreading Seas myself. I wonder if they misclicked there. It had to have been a misclick, right? I don't know. Maybe that was the right click. They just had another power plant in hand. LD hype, right, Zach? Oh no, not spatial contortion. Oh no. They're gonna like condescend me just to scry 2. That's pretty good. I think I just want to attack them for 5 a few times here. Was it worth it to play? I probably should have played another Stony Silence there, right? Because if I would have played another Stony Silence, I could have, I play around repeal that way. What tier would I put this at, honestly? I mean, like, it's a playable modern deck. I don't know that it's doing anything super impressive, but, like, it's got functional Magic cards in it. It's playing some of the best removal and disruption you can in Modern between the discard spells and Collective Brutalities. Mana Leaks, Remands, just a bunch of garbage up here. I mean, I guess I take the Spatial Contortion, I guess. So by taking the Spatial Contortion, this means that if I draw a Black Source next turn, I get to kill them with my Shambling Vent. Rude. I think labeling arbitrary tier numbers on things just, like, doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. Just, like, everybody describes, like, how are you defining tiers? Are you defining tiers by, like, the popularity of the deck? Are you defining tiers by what you think the power level of the deck is? How do you measure power level of the deck? Like, there's a lot of different ways you can define tiers. In fact, the joke on this stream is usually that everything is tier playable in Modern. That's the joke. Maybe I shouldn't cast this, because it just, like, lets them counterspell something. Yeah, I probably shouldn't cast this. I think casting this was wrong. It actually lets them scry too. Because, like, if they find Tron, they could maybe beat us. So, I probably shouldn't have cast that. Thankfully, their deck full of bad cards died with a bunch of bad cards in their hand. Unplayable in the 3-2 tier, right? I think overall what this deck is doing is very similar to what decks like Green-Black Midrange and Jund are doing, but it's, instead of playing efficient cards like Tarmogoyf and Tireless Tracker and Bloodbraid Elf, we're playing a bunch of Planeswalkers, and the Planeswalkers give us better positioning against other control decks in the format and other mid-range decks, but they tend to make us a little bit worse against decks where we need to be applying pressure consistently. So it's kind of a give and take. I don't think it's strictly worse than Green-Black, but I think it's similar in a lot of ways. Oh, look at that! I'll take your Burning Inquiry. Nice, nice. Get out of here. Get it out of here. Get it gone. I started playing Magic Online again, probably a little over a year ago. Metal Reptar, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate it. Welcome. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month. I started playing Magic Online again when I stopped traveling for Magic, because I just wanted an easy and convenient way to play Magic while I'm at home. And like, while Magic Online isn't perfect, and it certainly isn't pretty, it's very functional at what it does. It lets you play Magic on your computer from the convenience of your home. It is functional, would be the description I would give Magic Online. Yeah, the paper streams are just a lot of work for not a lot of return. When I'm preparing for an event, I play some Magic Online off stream every now and again, but by and large these days with streaming full time, I don't really play Magic Online off stream. The only real video games that I play off stream are like Hearthstone on my tablet, and even that I don't really only play that when I'm at the gym on the treadmill. Yeah, as fun as like the camaraderie was in the paper streams, it's just worse content. It's harder for people to see what's going on in the stream. It's just made it far less popular. Did I see your tier ranking? Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm really bad. Let me pull up my dashboard. Oh, filter. I did see your tier. Thank you for the new sub, Travis, by the way. Well, that's actually a pretty good draw. It lets me like pseudo remove this. So like we're waiting for a sweeper style of effect now. And keep these spirits back to block these blood gas. This matchup specifically, I feel like, is a big reason why the blue-white control decks getting to leverage Terminus give them a huge leg up in the format. Just like being able to like effectively exile these things like Bloodghast that keep coming back in a matchup like this is a big deal. It's like these Bloodghasts are gonna outgrind our Lingering Souls, so unless I like find another way to start generating pressure, we need like we need Rad Chad, we need a Gideon Token Maker. Elspeth Tirel would also be an okay draw at this point. Just give us a good way to consistently like fog the Bloodghast until I run out of lands for them. A second large threat's really bad for us here. Really want to draw a sweeper. All right, we've got what, 5 sweepers in our deck, and they're out of cards now. I think we're pretty dead here. And this is a good example too, where like, could you imagine if this Gideon of the Trials was like a Tarmogoyf or a Tireless Tracker? Like, it would be a creature that would be big enough to like threaten to block these Hallowed Ones and these Tassigers inside of combat, which would make us make us in a much better position than we are right now. Free Bird, thanks for checking out Honey, I appreciate it. That was a good draw. Yeah, I probably should have drained them with this. You're probably right that we're never going to cast this Inquisition. And I should have just drained them. Sorry, I'm missing a bunch of messages today. I went to bed early last night because I have a bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit out of it. And yeah, as far as like tier systems go, I think like describing tiers is like pretty pointless. Everybody has their own definitions for like what tiers mean which things. Shambling Vent's actually a pretty good draw here because it means their Bloodghasts aren't going to be able to profitably attack into us because we'll have a 2/3. And I play the Endless Horizons Charbelcher deck again. Yeah, I think that deck's really sweet. I actually tweeted out an updated list last night after I thought about it a little bit more. It's really unfortunate for us. Also, if you didn't see that deck yesterday, that deck was really sweet. The Endless Horizons Charbelcher deck was probably the sweetest thing we've played in a long time on this channel. The problem is, Awkward, is that we don't have fair and objective measurements of like what a deck represents in the format. So like, what is your description of metagame? Like, do you mean like the metagame that was entered in a tournament, or do you mean like the metagame representation of like the decks at the top of the tournament? Because the only data we really get in Magic is a decks at the top finishes in a tournament. I think I'm going to take this hit here and hope to draw a sweeper here. And that is just like very, very bad. Just like dies these Flamelight Phoenixes immediately. I think I'm playing this and making a 2/2. We don't have MTGO data. MTGO data is intentionally incomplete to make the format to make all formats feel artificially diverse. Wizards of the Coast intentionally does not share information. Yep. The only data that's not made artificially diverse on Magic Online is data regarding like the challenge events or the Mox events that are Swiss tournaments. Any thought on double blocking Hollowed One? No, I think I'd rather just hit them and try to pressure them. Because by pressuring them, I make it so they have to Flame Wake Phoenix attack into Gideon here, which means I get a little bit more breathing room with my health total, so that way I get more time to draw a sweeper. Looking for a Damnation or Ethegod or a Day of Judgment here. No, not at all. Moose droppings. I play too many different decks to get anything realistic or relevant out of the data that I would generate. They cast a Call the Netherworld. So they have no cards in hand. I think I'm eating the Bloodghast here, so that way if I draw a sweeper, my Shambling Vent is still around. Like, my out here is definitely drawing a sweeper, right? So we're very dead. I can plus here, and then they just kill us in the air. Yep. Get to bring in a bunch of graveyard hate here. So that way we can try to deal with these Bloodghast that give us a pretty hard time game one. Collective Brutality is a pretty easy cut here. I think Thoughtseize is probably an okay trim as well. What do you feel about these Elspeths? I kind of like them. These discard spells are a little bit mediocre. This is probably too much top end, though. It's probably too much top end. Let's do this, see how it feels. It seems good. Now that the format's well designed and well balanced, Canuck, like, saying if we have perfect information there can't be diversity implies that the format is designed and balanced in a way that there are a subset of decks that are much, much better than everything else. So, like, you can have data. It just means, like, you can't be fucking lazy. Sorry, I'm trying to swear less. It means you can't be lazy. If you give people more data, they're going to have more accurate information, which means you have to have an actual balancing, heavy-handed approach instead of just, like, waving and, like... Basically, the way Wizards approaches data currently is they're basically relying on security through obscurity. They're trying to make it so instead of actually doing their job well and balancing formats so there aren't things that are better than everything else, they're just saying, well, if it's difficult to figure out what's better than everything else, we can be lazy and not actually do our job. The best, and I love that Hearthstone is data friendly. Hearthstone's current standard format is quite possibly one of the most diverse standard formats I've ever played in any game ever, and their deck has an absurd amount of data available to it. I hate everything about everything. And that's fine. I didn't want those spells anyways. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I didn't really want those spells. The thing I think that surprises me most about Magic is how willing good Magic players and reasonable Magic players are to accept that good players with good decks can do poorly at an event due to variance, but at the same time, they have a very hard time accepting that a bad player with a bad deck can do well. So, like, variance goes both ways in these instances. Just like it's possible for a good player with a good deck to do poorly, it's very, very possible in Magic for a bad player with a bad deck to do well, or especially a good player with a bad deck can often do well. For instance, I know a particular idiot that made a reasonable amount of money playing Kiki Court in major modern tournaments for the better part of 2 years. That deck was never very good, but there was at least one idiot that did well consistently with it. It might be worth aggressively fielding them. Thins our deck too. Yay! They turned our lands into Chads. They turned our lands into Chads. Chad, 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 Chad. This is a story all about how Chad's life got flipped, turned upside down. That's a bird. That's an annoying bird. I guess I get to shoot the bird with Dad Chad, huh? Ian, thanks for checking out Honey. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting my content with that. Poor Chad. Poor Chad. All right, Dad, get in there. My favorite card nickname, probably Battle Cattle. Yeah, muting is much easier since I have a keyboard shortcut now instead of trying to use the actual button on this Yeti microphone, because the button on the Yeti microphone is terrible. Swag Tuskerson is a good nickname too, to be fair. Swag Tusk. What's Battle Cattle? That's Siege Rhino. That's true. Wet Ball is a good one. Wet Ball is definitely a good one. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this, right? Discard spell on 2 is really slow. I guess I have a Surgical Extraction. This archetype is just so very clunky. I think I'm obligated to bottom that, just like looking for lands and sweepers. Zane757, thanks for checking out Honey. I appreciate the support. Dusty and his orbs. This is your captain speaking. This is your daily reminder that Stoneforge Mystic is too good for Modern. I guess I'll path this during their upkeep. Could you imagine if we had a 1-2 in play at this point? I don't know how our opponent would ever win. Third mana, sure. Sure. There are certain people you just shouldn't interact with in life, Canuck. That sounds like one of them. They brought in Naya Spellbomb against us. Alright, Puddle Jumper, thank you for that brand new Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate the support. Welcome, welcome. One day, sorry, I won't be able to resub for a while. It's been 5 months and I found out I have a little one on the way. I completely understand. Thanks for being here, Gorks. I appreciate it. You should always put yourself before random people on the internet in case that wasn't implied and obvious. That's fine. That's fine. I didn't want any of those spells. I'm cool with taking 9 here. You know, 10, 9, 10, yeah, whatever. No big deal. Sure, your last card is Lightning Bolt too. What a great, interesting game of Magic the Gathering. We're dead, right? We're basically dead. Kill me. Oh, they have Faithless Looting in the bin. We're dead. They have Blood Gas. Just super dead lots of ways. Yeah, the more I play this archetype, the more I feel pretty confident in saying that this is a bad green-black mid-range deck. Just like, playing this many 4 and 5 mana spells in Modern is just, it's too brutal and clunky. It's too brutal and clunky. I, by and large, just don't use the chat anymore, Dono. Usually if someone else is using the chat a lot with me, I will just block them because it's annoying. The mono chat just doesn't need to exist. There's no reason for it to be the salt receptacle that it is. For the record, I don't fault anyone for playing the Hollowed One deck. The Hollowed One deck is arguably one of the better decks in Modern. It's very, very good. And this is, people think that the Hollowed One deck is high variance. The Hollowed One deck is very consistent at what it does. Very, very consistent. I'm going to bottom that. We just need to draw some lands here. Turn 1, Bajuka Bog. Amulet Titan, maybe? Yeah, looks like Amulet Titan. They mulligan pretty low. This is probably a matchup that's bad for us too. Like, just like look at this hand, right? Like I'm gonna drain them with this just because like this Cleansing Nova doesn't really have text. And take their Summoner's Pact, I guess, here. So we just like have to hope we kill them with Gideon's before they find a Titan off the top. Opponent mulliganed really low this game. I think they started on like 5 cards. Alright, well we know their hand currently does nothing, so we've got that going for us. Does buying us 1 turn here really matter? Hive Mind has mostly fallen out of favor in the Amulet Titan decks. What's the replacement usually? I don't know. I don't have a history of these decks back and forth. I just recommend looking at a current list. Amulet Titan did top 8 the last Grand Prix. 2 Grand Prix ago? It wasn't the Brazilian Grand Prix, it was the one before that, right? So here's the thing, chat, for people that aren't familiar with the opponent's deck. When the Titan deck does its thing, it ends up with a Teleria West in hand, which turns into another threat. So you don't like, clearing their board doesn't really accomplish anything. Was it in Brazil? Okay. Good. Remember, I knew it was one of the recent Grand Prix. So we've got 6 power, so, you know, hopefully we can attack them 4 or 5 times, and then they die. They have 7 Titans in their deck, though, with Summoner's Pact, so pretty good chance they get to us before we get to them. They also theoretically have a Teleria West as well if they find another blue source. A lot of different ways to find our thing. I mean, we're out of one-shot range, but like we're not beating a Titan, right? And the blue mana here is relevant. The blue mana means that they're going to be able to transmute a Teleria West to get a Titan now, so they have effectively 11 Titans in their deck at this point. And Stirrings for Teleria, yep. Lingering Souls is a good pickup. Gives us more pressure here. I don't think so, Mathematic. I would like to double block, please. Oh, means we only have to fade for 1 more turn here, which is nice. Oh, it was the last 2 Grand Prix, Aaron. Wow. Okay. All right. Survey says. Did we do it? Did we do it? Did we do it? I mean, I'm saying there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. Small chance, but it's a chance. What do we think of this? What do we think of this? The chances of discarding their Titan are like absurdly small. I don't think Surgical is good enough. Like, I have exactly three Thoughtseizes. That seems really narrow. Meddling Mages is the reason there's a Day of Judgment. Yeah, but like, how do I Surgical a Titan? I can't really Surgical a Titan. This is a mulligan, right? Feels like a mulligan. This doesn't accomplish anything for too long. Looking for discard spells and wet balls. Look at that. It's everything we wanted in life, chat. Turn 1 discard spell, turn 2 wet ball. And then chads for days. I got chads for days, chat. Double Obstinate Baloth. Alright. Alrighty then. I started playing Magic casually with Odyssey Block. I started playing Magic competitively with the release of New Phyrexia. And I became a full-time meme towards the end of last year. Actually, it's funny, I was cleaning out my garage over the weekend with my wife, and I found a red-green Madness deck from when I first started playing in a box, sleeved up, ready to go. Of course, it's got fiery tempers in it. So now when people ask if I own Magic cards, I gotta tell them that I do. We got Arrogant Worm here, and his color shifted cousin Reckless Worm. And some Basking Root Wallas. And then Legacy staple Muscle Burst, of course. Look at that. I have real physical Magic the Gathering cards, chat. It's quite strange. It's quite strange. Land. Ding. And of course, Muscle Burst combos with Diligent Farmhand, of course. Nothing but Legacy staples there. I assume this is going to get Summoner's Pact to get Reclamation Sage. They got a forest? Okay, interesting. Oh, they need more green mana before they can Summoner's Pact. That makes sense. So they have Baloth, Forest. Am I supposed to Brutality here? I think there's a non-zero chance I'm supposed to Brutality here. Why would I Brutality the Scout? Doesn't seem like it really accomplishes much. How much Sorin my red-green madness through a Legacy queue? Let's not, shall we? Oh, this is Poopy Sorin, huh? I thought this was the other one. I think I like the other Sorin that gives lifelink a little bit better than Sorin Lord of Innistrad. This is like Chad's wingman, Burgle. He like flies along with Chad while he picks up chicks at the local bar. Or maybe Chad picks up dudes at the local bar. We don't really know. Either way, Sorin is his wingman. Am I getting tightened? I think we're getting tightened, chat. No, just Baloth because it costs 5. What if I just like emblem here? Is that absurd? Let's give him the Chad beatdown, chat. Get him. They may be at 28, but the Chads are coming for him. Chad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Chad boys. So, probably Emblem, Gideon next turn. make a token with Sorin so we can emblem him the following turn. Is Shared Fate on the no-fly list? Probably. Decks that don't look like they can win games of Magic get no-flyed. Are we in a position to win this match? I feel like we're actually ahead here, right? On the back of our wet ball. Is this game 2? We're up a game. Opponent mulliganed really low the first game. I have 3 Planeswalkers, of course, we're ahead. Maybe. Come at my Planeswalkers, bro. Come at me. All for one and one for Chads. Yeah, basically we play other formats when those formats are higher than... Do I even want to block here? I kind of just want to double and like let Chad take 4. Yeah, I think I just double and then let Chad take 4. Like if I hit an untapped land next turn, I can like double Brutality to kill this. I'm gonna put their bounce land into play and pick Teleria West back up. I mean, we basically meme full time on this channel. All right, that's pretty sweet. So I get to go 4/4, 5/5. Smash you. I guess I could just flashback Lingering Souls here, too. I could go Brutality. Oh, I can Brutality this Summoner's Pact out of their hand, right? That actually seems great. -2, cast with 2 modes. -2, -2, discard. Why would they want a pact in response? That then they have to pay for the pact, then they're like super dead on board, right? Yeah, I think it was fine, Mr. Swag. I think I didn't really want a 4th days. All right, well, after a bit of good fortune and some very damp spheres, we were able to pull that out there against Amulet Titan. We're 2-2. Let's see if the Chads can pull it together and be a real modern deck today or not. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I do appreciate it. There's a lot of different things you could be doing, different people you could be watching, spending part of your Tuesday here with us. Welcome. Don't go anywhere after this league, though. We're going to be playing some Dredge up next, and then some Landfall aggro to follow that. I'm here streaming Magic the Gathering 5+ days a week. I think I'm currently on like my 10th or 11th day in a row since I streamed both days over the weekend. Definitely taking at least one day this coming weekend off. Yeah, the Landfall aggro deck is sweet. Definitely had good results with that. You should look at my Twitter, Mr. Swag. I post updated deck lists all the time. I have no idea what I want the Blue-Red Fairies deck to look like. The last list I posted had 3 copies of Opt in it. Because that's what you do when you're tuning a new deck. You try lots of different things. I'm not planning to stream any more Hearthstone, no. The way Twitch works, it's basically impossible for new streamers to break into new games without having help from existing people that are successful in those games, and none of the Hearthstone people I reached out to who are currently successful were interested in supporting my stuff. Not that it really matters. My Magic stuff is more than successful here, so it just gives me more time to focus on Magic the Gathering. Which, let's be honest, Magic's pretty sweet. You do a stream free so I can catch up on YouTube. Looks like Hollowed Boys again. This is a tough one. Do I actually take their Faithless Looting here? How do we feel about taking their Faithless Looting? I kind of like taking the looting. Path Adept seems really aggressive. I think I'd rather Night's Whisper on too. I feel like I want to just like give myself the best possible chance to cast this Cleansing Nova on 5. We are currently 2-2. Yeah, definitely Anoronics. And like trying to coordinate with people that do Hearthstone stuff to try and get hosts into my channel and them being not receptive to that. That's definitely a big part of why I'm trying to go out of my way to help other Magic people. Because it's very frustrating to like work on content and like investing effort into something and not seeing any returns on it. Because, like, you could be the best streamer in the world, but if you're brand new in an established game, it's basically impossible for you to collect an audience, the way Twitch works. I am someone who was fortunate enough to have a background outside of Twitch to be able to have an initial starting audience when I started streaming Magic, which was definitely a big part of why I've been able to be successful with it. I think I just want to play Gideon of the Trials here. It's possible that Lingering Souls is better. And again, like, this is one of the reasons why I think this deck... Oh, I guess if they have a land, they get to Flamewake Phoenix me now, which sucks. Yeah, and this is a big reason why this archetype feels really clunky compared to green-black midrange to me, because, like, when your threats are these Planeswalkers, you basically just don't have a good way to defend them all of the time, and when boards like this, you can get into a lot of trouble. Yep. Yeah, you either have to have a presence from outside of Twitch, or you have to like be in on the ground floor of a game, basically. You have to like get in while the getting is good. Their Burning Inquiry ditched Double Angler Hollowed One there, so that's probably pretty good for us. Fire Dog with that brand new Twitch Prime subscription. There's a lot of people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. Welcome. See if they have another Hollowed Boy or a Delph Thread here. So Delve creature. Collective Brutality. Okay. Cooldown max based on the number of subscribers I had and my viewership from the Kiki Cord days to now, at most like 10% or so. When I streamed a bunch of Kiki Cord stuff and then a bunch of Hex stuff for a while, I think I never broke like 300 to 400 sub points, and currently I have about 1,800. Watch Jeff, because I can usually only get the YouTube viewage. Catching live show is always better when I can. Yep. Yeah, it really surprises me how few people, wow, they're just all in on us not drawing a land here, huh? It surprises me how few other content creators leverage YouTube. It's so easy and takes such a minimal amount of work for me to put all my stuff on YouTube after the fact. That would have been really good for us. I guess I just... Brutality... We're actually in a pretty decent spot here, right? Like, I Brutality kill this. I Chad plus here, I path this. How much money do I make off of Twitch? Well, the easiest way to estimate is that Twitch partners usually get somewhere between $250 and $350 per sub point that they have. So, I just told you I have 1,800 sub points. You can do some crude math from there. I make enough that this can be considered a full-time job. That's awkward. I think I still just path the hollowed one here, but it's definitely not ideal. You can actually path their only 4-power creature with the Flamewake Phoenix trigger on the stack. The Flamewake Phoenix trigger checks that its conditions are met when it resolves and otherwise. When it goes on the stack and when it resolves. Yep, yeah, you're not wrong, extras. It's definitely difficult to monetize. Like, the amount of the volume of content that I put on YouTube compared to the ratio of money it actually makes is kind of sad. But I definitely get a lot of people into Twitch from YouTube. I definitely know I have a non-zero number of people that subscribe on Twitch but only watch on YouTube. How much do I think I spend on MTGO tickets per month? So, even though I play a lot of, let's call them interesting decks on stream, I actually just about break even. I think I at most put like, it's definitely not more than like $20 to $25 a month. And like every 3 to 4 months, I throw like another $100 at it usually. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think the YouTube is definitely worthwhile. Like, I've had a number of people that have popped in and been like, I created my Twitch account just so I could subscribe to your channel because I found you through YouTube. And it's like, well, that's awesome. Thank you for that. I do pride myself in a top tier show game. This is as short as my wife would let me cut my hair. I'm a good boy that does what he's told. Yeah, I saw that, Taryn. So basically, Twitch has a monopoly that's going to be very difficult for anybody, even Google, to break into. Because, like, for some context, we're talking about numbers here. The number of Twitch subscribers that I have that are Twitch Prime subscribers is almost 50% of my sub points. So a majority of... This is indestructible when I make him a thing, right? So a majority of my sub points come from Amazon Prime. So like, yeah, Amazon is huge. And like, if you don't have, like, I never would have been able to move into streaming full time as soon as I did if I didn't have that extra revenue from those Twitch Prime subs. Stay for the good looks. We need to talk about your standards if you're here for the good looks, because this is definitely into classification of only a mother could love. I think I'm gonna Night's Whisper plus Lingering Souls flashback here, then we get to hold path up, so they should be dead next turn. This game came together well for us. That's true. If you set your standards low, you will rarely be disappointed. Kind of. One of our losses in this league was to Hollowed One. When our cards line up well, it's definitely okay, but I definitely think we have a lot of kind of awkward, clunky draws that can happen to us. I don't know how much of this top end I want. Collective Brutality is pretty medium here. This is probably too much top end. I don't think you can afford to have 0 card advantage in a deck like this. Night's Whisper, just like drawing 2 cards and helping you hit your land drops and find more gas, is pretty important in this deck, I think. I'm gonna leave Elspeth because she can gain us some life. See, I actually think Elspeth 5 is... I guess she's like a Wrath of God. So maybe she's better. I guess she is like a pseudo-Wrath. Alright, let's try this. Hi, waifu. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't hate more Night's Whispers in the deck. I wouldn't hate bringing the curve down in general. I'm going to keep this with a Scry on the draw. I'm going to top that, even though it's not a black source. I like the new card backs. I think they look really slick. I think the card backs that we have were designed in 1993, and they look like they were designed in 1993. I think there'll be plenty of people who are resistant to change that really dislike them, but yeah, that's fine. I didn't really plan on casting that Rest in Peace or that Path to Exile anyways, you know, no big deal. This is your captain speaking, and this is your friendly reminder that Stoneforge Mystic is too good for Modern. No, I don't think so, Polly. In order to draw the same number of cards with that card that you draw with Night's Whispers, you have to invest 6 mana. Modern is a format that's about generating tempo, not about generating card advantage by and large. So you generally need to stick what card advantage you're going to get onto cards that don't put you that far behind in tempo. I think we're dead, chat. I think we're dead. I'm gonna take one more draw step at drawing a Path to Exile to replace the one that Burning Inquiry took away from us. Look at that. Look at that. Easy concession. The people that are saying everybody plays Magic with sleeves, you are blissfully ignorant to the very large segment of Magic players who play Magic extremely casually. Just the fact that, like, you know Magic exists on Twitch and YouTube and you seek it out and watch it, the fact that you're in this Twitch channel means that you take Magic probably a bit more seriously at the very least than a majority of the people that play the game very casually at their kitchen tables across the world. It is the Judginator. Pick up your sword to go with your shield and defend the realm. Thanks for the continued support. Welcome, Zintoth. Oh, you asked to get sorted the other day. Let's get you one too. No turn 1 play is great for us. Path to Exile, number 2 is a great draw. The segment of dual wielding mods is pretty low. Those are basically just people that have contributed a significant amount. There's only a handful of them. Look at that. Let's get Chad into play here. That is Cleansing Nova. That is the new sweeper out of M19. It either destroys all creatures or destroys all artifacts and enchantments. All right, got a freebie there at the end. We hit the 3-2. I think if you're like really into playing Planeswalker control, I think this deck is fine. It's like playable. Oh no, not again. Where's my free timeout? I got you. I got your free timeout. I do think if you're only playing from a competitive perspective, this deck is probably a little bit worse than black-green mid-range on average. I do think if I were to play this deck again, I would probably try and pull the curve down a little bit. I think especially with the addition of Cleansing Nova, we just have too much here at the top. Someone else recommended Liliana the Veil. I think that's probably a very reasonable inclusion. It synergizes a little bit with our Lingering Souls, and just like having less 5s in our deck is probably a good deal. Real modern decks have curves, exactly. All right, so what are we doing next? We got some